Right, Alfie. So, what are we thinking about this YouTube boxing scene? Obviously, we got a couple of fights coming up. We could potentially have Gibb versus Deji, which, it's an interesting fight when you really think about it because Deji, he showed a lot of heart in that first Jake Paul fight, and I think if he had a bit more training and time to prepare, he would have came through there. What's your thoughts on that?
No, I think it's an easy win for Gibb, to be honest.
Yeah, you think Gibb's gonna just tear through him?
Yeah, I reckon Gibb's just going to run straight through him. You know, Deji's good on the bag
Yeah,
and on his little mannequin, but, it's not the real thing, is it? And everyone knows it's easier on a bag than it is in real life.
yeah. Obviously, a bag doesn't hit back, does it?
Exactly, and I think Gibb's got a lot of built-up anger after Jake Paul that he's going to want to release.
Yeah, he's going to try and take that out. He's obviously very motivated. He's getting back into shape because obviously he didn't get much of a chance to show his full ability against Jake Paul. Jake Paul just stuck out that long jab, that right hand and the left hook, and that just ultimately shut Gibb down. Gibb couldn't do anything to get inside him or test Gibb even in any way, and he just blew him out the water. But yeah, I think Deji's got a lot of power, as Vidal said.
Vidal said Deji's got the most power, the best natural boxer.
Yeah, he's got the most natural ability out of all the the fighters he's trained. And I just think if Deji, he said he's been training for 2 years, didn't he?
Yeah, he reckons he's been training for 2 years, hard.
Yeah, but you can say that. But Logan said he was training for 1.5 years, and he didn't really look like it, did he? Because JJ had only been training for 3 months.
Yeah, something like that.
To lead into that fight. So Gibb reckons it'll be held in Saudi Arabia, which would be interesting, and as a pro belt as opposed to an amateur belt.
If they do it though, will it be a pro event or will it be a white collar event?
I think it'll have to be pro because Gibbs turned pro. He won't want to go back to white collar, will he?
Maybe not. No, I don't think he'll want that.
I think you set up an event where the main event. Right, we'll move into this fight now. KSI versus Jake Paul. That's a massive fight right there. 2 undefeated, the only two. Well, not the only two, but the 2 main YouTube boxers in the same weight class. Obviously, KSI being a bit heavier than him, but very evenly matched. They're similar in size and stance and that. They're about the same height. I think, if I had to be honest, I think JJ takes it by a late knockout. What's your opinion on that?
I think it could go either way, to be honest. Everyone thought Logan was going to beat KSI.
Well, obviously KSI's got a tremendous amount of heart. He went in there against Logan. Logan, the bigger man with a stiff jab and a guy who could keep you at range and hurt you at range as well. We saw the power of Logan when he knocked KSI down.
You see the way Jake trains. I think he's used to very standard boxing, but KSI's got the wild technique that could catch him out after he's been doing all this proper stuff. KSI's wild wind swings might be able to catch him a few times. That he won't be ready for it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Maybe, Logan was talking about how he'd been training for so long. Maybe he was training with traditional fighters.
Yeah, exactly. He should have been training for what he was going up for.
Yeah, I'm not saying they weren't on the level of KSI, but he's got a very, traditional technique, hasn't he? Very good stance, very upright, chin tucked, nice jab, crisp right hand, and a left hook as well onto that. It's a very, a slick style of boxing. So, what's your opinion on this, Hayden?
Yeah, see, I don't think there's going to be a knockout, Sam, to be honest.
Really?
I don't think there's going to be, because Jake and KSI are both very good boxers. I don't think they're 2 good boxers. They both won't knock each other out. I 100% don't believe they will.
I think if there was going to be a knockout in any of the YouTube fights, it would have been either Logan KSI, because obviously Logan's a lot bigger, probably carries more power, or Jake Paul versus Gibb, because
he's got massive power. Yeah. What I was going to say is, who do you think has the power advantage in that fight?
I think it's tight. I reckon it's pretty even. Obviously, with them being very similar sizes.
I think the way Jake can hurt JJ is by catching him off guard. He's got a very quick and slick style, hasn't he? So maybe when JJ's like trying to swing him with those
Balance
big
and
hooks, yeah, maybe he misses one. Jake slips and hits him where he can't see it. And JJ, we've seen him hurt. We know he can get hurt. He's got a lot of heart, but you got to think Logan's been in there with JJ, right?
Yeah.
He's going to know what to mentor Jake on, what to tell Jake going into this fight, how to beat JJ. But you got to think JJ's got this. He's got this killer's mindset. When he gets in there, he's a different person. He wants to take your head off, doesn't he? Look what he did to Logan in the first round. He brought the heat. He didn't let Logan stand there.
He takes to the ring. I think it's unmatched out of all of the YouTube fighters.
He doesn't freeze in the moment.
I don't think Gibbs had enough. I don't think Gibbs had enough time to fight Jake to be able to actually give KSI any tips on how to fight him. Because obviously, what was that, like 40 seconds or
what I was going to say is, Gibb did have a little bit of early success with his wild little swinging hooks in the pocket, didn't he?
Right in the start, he was getting some good trade shots in with him, slipping Jake's hooks and stuff like that, and landed some of his own.
Yeah, I think it's just Jake was just a better man on that night, the more prepared man, and he just ultimately outclassed Gibb. He made Gibb look amateur.
I think it was a mixture of Jake being good on the night and Gibb not turning up, in a way.
Yeah, I think you could see it in the ring walk. Gibb was fired up, but there was a very big element of nerves in there, wasn't there? And he just froze on the spot. And once you get hurt on that spotlight, going in there is a very nervous thing.
Ask Joe Weller.
Yeah, yeah. Joe Weller is a very good example of that. He went there against KSI. They stepped in the ring. KSI's flicking out his jab. Joe Weller's doing nothing. He's just standing there he's like a moving target.
I think a lot of that fight was down to the mental game in it, though. I think KSI got in Joe Weller's head big time. Maybe not in the first press conference because they were having a good bit of back and forth, but obviously Joe Weller's trainers were telling him not to get involved in trash talking and stuff like that, and I think that gave KSI the opportunity to just rip into him, just go in, just get straight into his head, living there rent free.
Talking about Joe Weller, right? This could be a fight. Joe Weller versus Deji. Joe Weller's big comeback fight.
I don't think Joe Weller's got the aspiration to want to box anymore. I think he likes the sport, but I don't think he wants to box.
He did say to KSI on their podcast that he wanted that fight. Not that exact fight, but he wanted to fight. He wants to step back in the ring against someone.
Did he say he wants to do it just to prove people that he's better than the KSI fight?
Yeah. I think we've seen the training footage and him inspiring. He looks quite dangerous. I saw very choppy hooks and stuff like that. He looks dangerous on the pads as well. He just didn't get to show that against JJ, especially with the head guards on as well. The shots that Joe did land were cushioned because they're hooks. Joe doesn't throw straight shots, he throws hooks. And with head guards on, which were that chunky, that's going to take a lot of the oomph off of those hooks. Maybe if that was a pro bout, those hooks might have hurt JJ. And we could have a different story, but it was their first boxing fight. They're not going to step in a pro ring together, were they?
I actually think Joe Weller has got very good cardio.
I think he does too. I think he just got busted up by JJ.
But at the same time, you're forgetting about with his training, he wasn't allowed to do any running, anything like that. His footwork would have been dodgy all because of his massive knee injury he was carrying at the time.
The knee problem, didn't he? Yeah, that got brought up a lot in the earlier press conferences, didn't it? JJ was saying, "Can you dip and do all of that? Yeah, can you squat?" That's quite funny, wasn't it? But the difference in that fight, which I thought, is JJ threw straight shots and Joe threw hooks, didn't he?
Yeah.
And history in boxing tells us that a straight shot will always land before a hook. And in the amateur ranks as well, straight shots are doing a lot more damage than hooks, especially to the head, because you think about it, straight shots. There's no padding around the face, is there?
There really is.
There's nothing to, there's nothing to block the straight shots coming at you. But with the hooks, as I've said, the head guard around the head, it just stops them from having damage on the opponent.
Right, let's change the question. Not going into it now, but Joe Weller, if he turned up on a day versus Deji's performance against Jake Paul, who do you think wins that?
I think I watched that fight quite recently, actually. Deji, that fight against Jake Paul, and he didn't do too bad. He looked quick.
Yeah, Deji made some comebacks.
As much as Deji was kind of like a meme going into the fight, I think if he did what Vidal Riley and KSI said and actually trained hard for the fight, I reckon he could have gone in there and actually whooped Jake more than anything. I reckon he would have definitely beat him, but I reckon he would have walked straight through him.
Yeah, but he didn't. I don't think he took his training seriously. To be fair,
he didn't. I think he only started taking his training seriously in like the last month when he went to that. Did he go to Vic's boxing gym or something like that?
Yeah, he was dabbling about with different. Yeah, he was dabbling around with different trainers. He didn't have time to prepare or set himself. He just. I think he was there just to like boost his ego a bit.
Do you reckon he was there?
And he had nothing to lose in that fight either, did he? Who do you know who picked Deji to win that fight?
Well, I think everyone thought that Jake was going to win it just because of the sheer size difference.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's a size difference there. There's obviously a height and reach difference, but Jake Paul's just a very long fighter, isn't he, for his height? Like, yeah. Well, not. I don't think he's stature bigger wise. I think they're quite. Deji's quite tanky actually. That's quite. What's the word for it?
Is that a good?
That's quite ironic because his nickname is the Tank, isn't it? But yeah, I think Deji did very well on the night. He coped with the nerves obviously very well as well. And on that night, are we talking about Weller on that night?
No, we're talking about Weller from the training footage that we've seen since the fight. I think they've got very similar styles, to be honest. Maybe Joe could be carrying a bit more power and Deji could be carrying a bit more speed.
Yeah. Well, I think if they did it at pro ranks and Deji catches Joe, I think he could hurt him and drop him.
In pro ranks, in a pro match, what do you reckon favours more, speed or power, with those non-head guards?
I think definitely speed. I think, well, if you want to knock someone out, you've got to catch them off guard, haven't you?
Yeah, you do.
I definitely think that the speed of, Deji could catch Joe, but Joe's got a very good guard, saying that. Like, when it comes to shots coming around the side, Joe blocks them. The only difference with his guard is JJ was throwing straight shots, which are just going through the middle, but Deji doesn't throw a lot of them.
Yeah. Not even straight shots, just random shots from all angles.
Yeah, but, well, back to the KSI versus Jake Paul fight. Where do you think it's going to be hosted, Alfie?
I really hope it's in the UK. I think with the UK fans, how big of a fight it is, especially if they have some good undercards, I reckon they could sell out the O2, maybe even Wembley, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, the O2 would be a good arena to do that in, because that's a sort of arena that like JJ likes to compete in. I definitely think that JJ will have the nerves advantage if it's in London.
Definitely. But at the Manchester Pressers, the crowd doesn't seem to actually favour Jake.
I think JJ, put him anywhere, put him in front of 1 million people, he will still perform the same. He is one of those people who can just take in pressure and cope better when it's there. Like, look at Logan Paul in their fight. Logan Paul did nothing for the first 3 rounds, really, did he?
What, in the second one?
I scored that fight. KSI won the first 3 rounds and the 6th, and Logan won 4 and 5. I don't think the judges screwed up on that night, to be honest. Like, I think one of them gave Logan Paul 4-2, didn't they? It's like, where do you get those 4 rounds from? It's a bit like, recently a good example of that is in the UFC, John Jones versus Dominic Reyes.
Yeah.
So John Jones obviously being a very dominant challenger, and Dominic Reyes coming as an undefeated opponent.
You see upsets a lot in UFC.
Yeah, it's because the gloves are smaller, isn't it? I think there's a lot more ways to win by knockout. Yeah, a big massive one is GSP versus Matt Serra, isn't it?
Yeah.
No one picked Serra to win that fight. He just won the Ultimate Fighter. That's why he got the title shot, because there's no one left for GSP to fight.
Okay, so going back on the topic of comebacks, I remember this was going to be a fight, but Joe Weller obviously pussied out. Gibb versus Joe Weller, yeah. Both comebacks. Who do you think would win?
I think Gibb would destroy Joe Weller right now.
Right now, without any training as well, Gibb would go straight for him. Going back to the UFC, undeserved wins though, I think a massive one is Bisping versus Matt Hamill.
Yeah, that's a massive one. Yeah, you could say that's hometown favoritism.
Home court advantage. It was London.
Yeah, that's obviously a very big thing in all UFC events. Like any fighter who goes to that, like Bisping's done that multiple times against.
Yeah,
I think he
Bisping's
won
had
the
a
fight
lot.
against Anderson Silva. I think it should have been a split. It should have been a split decision. I like Michael Bisping as a fighter. Nothing against him, right? He's one of my favourite fighters, and when he beat Rockhold, I got fucking ecstatic. But against Dan Henderson as well, the second time, arguably that could have gone to Dan Henderson.
Yeah.
But that was in Manchester as well. So, yeah, he's a like, we're talking about Michael Bisping though. He fought half his career with one eye. So you got to give him credit, don't you? Where's due? Like, he came out on his talk show, didn't he? And he popped his eye out, and I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, you've been fighting with one eye for this period of time. It's crazy.
Half of his career, last quarter of his career with literally one eye. Obviously, his iconic look of wearing sunglasses. Like everyone thought he just liked wearing shades, but it was literally just to hide from
the commission
people. Yeah, the commission from the fact that he's only got one eye, pretty much.
Well, yeah. Well, you saw in his last 3 fights, right? He fought Dan Henderson first, his first title defense, and he got dropped 3 times in that fight. But you noticed he got dropped by right hooks every time. That's because he couldn't see the shot coming. Dan Henderson's got a monstrous right hook, and Bisping just couldn't see that shot coming because you think about it, if you've got half sight, you can't see the right side of their body. So when Dan Henderson was winging those shots over from a really wide position, Bisping couldn't see them, especially because they're wide. That just puts them more out of their sight. But then when he fought GSP, he got caught, didn't he, by a right, I think it was a right straight or a left hook or something like that.
I think it was like a right overhand kind of straight.
I think Bisping threw an uppercut and then GSP countered it, didn't he? And dropped and then choked him out. But that was due to the eye. And then obviously Bisping got KO'd cold against Kelvin Gastelum in his last fight. Big credits for him for taking that fight. He just lost a title 2 weeks ago by getting choked out, and he flew over to China to fight fucking Kelvin Gastelum. That's just crazy. But anyway, who we got now coming up in big UFC events? There's I think it's fake, but Conor McGregor versus Usman. That would be an interesting matchup, because people say about Usman, he's got this brilliant wrestling base and all of that, and he does. He out wrestled Tyron Woodley, which is one of the best wrestlers in that division. But Conor's so dangerous at any weight class. You saw what he did to Cerrone. He blasted Cerrone out the water. And when Usman tries to lean on you and grapple with you,
I think Cerrone's getting up. And I'm not trying to take that away from McGregor's performance, because obviously he was on fire that night, but I don't think it was Cowboy at his best.
Yeah, I just highly think that. So you saw what Woodley did in that fight. Woodley didn't do much when he was pinned up against the fence against Usman. I think you saw McGregor in that fight against Cerrone, where Cerrone tried to grapple with him, and McGregor was using that shoulder strike, and he broke Cerrone's nose and orbital bone. Right, that strike. I think he's adjusted that strike and started using that strike to deal with wrestlers when they try and grapple with him. Because obviously Conor struggles against wrestlers. He got taken down, I think it was... Let me just check. I think he got taken down 7 times against Chad Mendes. So he did struggle against the wrestlers quite big time. Yeah, here we go. He got taken down 4 times by Chad Mendes. He was on the ground for 4 minutes, Conor McGregor, in that fight. But as soon as he stood up, he had a massive, striking advantage over Mendes, and that's what I think he's got against Usman. Usman's got a lot of power, but we only saw him fight against Colby Covington in the last fight, and Colby's a very good wrestler, but his striking's, it's okay. It's not bad, but Conor is an elite striker. If you try and mess up against him, try and swing for him, he will knock you out. Like what he did against Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez tried to take his head off, and Conor just, made him overextend and hit him where he's so fast as well. What do you have to say about that? If you try and stand with Conor and you don't bring the threat of wrestling, he will knock you out. It's as clear as that.
Unless you could be with the wrestlers over that fight.
You saw that Khabib fight, right, against Conor? Khabib kept on shooting for those takedowns, didn't he? How many times did he take Conor down? He took him down 3 times and held him down on the mat for 15 minutes. That's crazy. The strikes aren't actually that different, to be fair. Conor landed 96 strikes and Khabib landed 100. So, yeah. You saw when they were standing on the feet, Conor was always tired, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So he couldn't really do much with his power. I think if he fights Khabib again, he needs to go in there. He needs to go in there and wear Khabib out. Or finish him quick. Try and get Khabib to stand up with him. Maybe get inside Khabib's head at press conferences. I mean, he tried it last time. Khabib did get tired in that 3rd round, though. He took a round off, and that's the only round he's ever lost. Conor McGregor has given Khabib the only round in his career he's ever lost.
Yeah.
And that's got to give Conor hope that he can do that. He outstrikes Khabib. The only reason Khabib... It didn't even count as a knockdown, that shot. Khabib landed on Conor. I think they counted it as a trip, but it was a massive shot. It came out of nowhere. But that's what made that shot so good, because Khabib kept diving for his legs, didn't he? And Conor was like, oh shit, I'm scared about this now. If he takes me down, I'm down for the whole of the round. And he faked that dive, didn't he? He faked that little shooting for the takedown and threw the right hand over the top. And, Conor was just not expecting that shot to come. And it's a beautiful shot. I think it shook McGregor a bit, but not too much. He wasn't wobbly, was he? I think the only time we've seen McGregor wobbly is against Mayweather and against Diaz the first time. But, I think McGregor needs to have one more tune-up fight before he fights someone like Usman or a Khabib, like a dominant wrestler. Who do you think he should fight? Maybe Dustin Poirier would be a good fight for him.
Poirier,
yeah. That would. Dustin Poirier's just come off the loss to the champion. He's got a track record for trying to strike with people.
It would be a good matchup to see where McGregor's at.
Yeah, I think obviously McGregor's already beat Poirier before, hasn't he? He knocked him out in that first round of their featherweight bout. But this is at lightweight. This is upperweight.
There are a few fights that McGregor could be looking for at the moment, though, isn't there? Obviously, he's got the Usman fight, the Gaethje fight. Ferguson could still be on the cards. Khabib, Diaz 3.
Masvidal. There's a lot of possible matchups for him, isn't there?
Or Mayweather 2.
Yeah, Masvidal. Oh, he's on fire. Yeah, Masvidal's on fire right now, though, isn't he? He's destroying everyone.
He really is.
In his last fight again, obviously Nate Diaz has got a solid chin. You're not going to take him out unless you land a perfect head kick on him like Josh Thompson did. But yeah, he has an inhuman chin, Nate Diaz, and if you're going to beat Nate Diaz, you've got to beat him by decision.
What are your thoughts on the respectful Conor McGregor that was against Cowboy, the non-trash talking, the one that was nice to the opponent?
Obviously, Cowboy and Conor, since their little press conference at UFC, was it the UFC 120? It was the one before Conor fought Aldo, wasn't it? And Cerrone was sat behind him, and Cerrone was just about to get a title shot against Rafael dos Anjos. But I think Conor was the main man then, wasn't he? He's beaten everyone. He just beat Chad Mendes. He is the interim champion. There was a bit of bitterness there from Cerrone. Cerrone's been grinding his arse off for so long in the UFC. Number one contender fight, lost that. Number one contender fight, lost that. Finally gets to the title against RDA, and it's been overlooked. I didn't think that was even on a pay-per-view, Alfie. I think that was a fight night. I think Cowboy versus RDA was like just a fight night. And obviously, yeah, it was. UFC on Fox 17, and that was a title fight. So, and he couldn't have got paid very much for that, could he? It was not on pay-per-view. So I think Cowboy was looking at Conor at this time and thinking, why is this little, he called him a little Irish leprechaun, didn't he, or something like that? Why is he coming in and just taking my thunder? You know what I mean? And he's talking, and at that time, McGregor was talking about going up a weight class as well. And obviously, Cowboy's going to think, that's disrespectful, isn't it? He hasn't even beat the champion at his weight class. He's already talking about taking a double belt.
Cowboy has had some big fights recently, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He lost to Pettis by decision, McGregor by TKO, Gaethje by TKO, Ferguson by TKO.
Yeah, Aquinta. He's fought in the last 4 years. He's fought so many top 5 guys. You got Jorge Masvidal, Robbie Lawler, Darren Till, Leon Edwards, Mike Perry, Tony Ferguson, Aloy Aquinta, Justin Gaethje, Conor McGregor, Anthony Pettis. All these guys are killers. And that's just only in the last 4 years. He's fought guys like Dos Anjos, Eddie Alvarez. He beat Eddie Alvarez. He's fought Nate Diaz, Melvin Guillard. Like, all these guys are just machines. But yeah, Cowboy's had one of the, I'd say the best journeyman careers. He's one of the best fighters who's never won a belt.
What I want to know is, once YouTube boxing has completely died out, I want to know what do you reckon will be the next big thing for YouTubers?
Well, it's gone. It went from playing football, didn't it? That was the first big sporting event. Wembley Cup, wasn't it?
Wembley Cup, and then obviously the Sidemen matches.
Yeah. Then it was diss tracks. Then it went to boxing. Also, it's still really at boxing.
KSI did say he wanted that there was going to be some more football events happening on his new video.
Did he?
He did say that, yeah.
Yeah. But there was going to be one. There was going to be one this year, but coronavirus and everything's happened.
Oh, okay.
If this KSI Rice company keeps going on, it's going on at the moment, we could see the return of diss tracks.
We saw KSI's story today. There could be a diss track tomorrow.
Where is KSI in the charts at the moment?
He's top.
Didn't it on our KSI story say that there was going to be a diss track for?
I think he is going bold. Yeah, that's going to be. Obviously, he's gone bold before. He's going to go from this mad set of hair to this just going bold. But yeah.
I think diss track was my favourite time on YouTube.
Yeah, that was the peak of YouTube.
What was your favourite diss track?
My favourite's Road to Shore's original one.
Yeah, Harry's first one was class. Little Boy was very good. I thought Two Birds, One Stone was very good as well.
Yeah, Two Birds, One Stone was pretty cool.
Then obviously there's Insecure by Quadeca. That's a very good diss track. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I think Ethan's first diss track was alright as well. And obviously Simon's. But now going on to the topic, right, of real boxing fights coming up. Obviously, the heavyweight division is on notice. Today, Deontay Wilder has posted he's got a bicep injury and will not be able to fight for like the next 6 months. So that perfectly opens up a spot for AJ versus Tyson Fury finally. Alfie, what are you thinking about that fight?
It could go either way, but I want Fury to win that one personally. I think Joshua is too much of a golden boy, and he hasn't got any personality. If Fury wins, I'm saying it's going to be by decision.
Would you think it'll be split, or what decision are we talking about? Right, so obviously we're AJ, and I'm an AJ fan, Alfie's a Fury fan. We're going to be a tiny bit biased towards our fighters. But when you look at AJ's resume compared to Tyson's, you'll see AJ's fought a lot more top 10 guys. And that fight against Ruiz, Joshua went in there. He wasn't there, was he? He wasn't there at fight night. He was nervous. He didn't stick to the game plan. He just wanted a big finish. And that's dangerous against a guy like Ruiz who's got quick hands. And that's Joshua's kryptonite. Someone who's got quick hands who can cut in there and just like overwhelm him. I don't think Fury's got the speed to beat Joshua like Ruiz did. But obviously Joshua found a way to beat Ruiz. He's really good at sticking to a game plan. Like, people say he's a robot, but I think he does the whole robot thing very good. And you saw in the Andy Ruiz Jr. rematch, he had the patience. He didn't want the finish. He had the patience to just outbox him the whole of the fight. And he got his belts back, and now he's back on top. Obviously, Britain own the heavyweight division at the moment, don't they? So it's just brilliant for British. Yeah, brilliant for British boxing. If this happens, this fight, where do you think it's got to be?
Well, if it's Joshua versus Fury, surely it's got to be in the UK, hasn't it?
That's what I'm saying. It's got to be at Wembley Stadium, but Eddie Hearn and fucking Frank Warren, I think it is. Yeah, it is Frank Warren, isn't it? Are talking about putting it in Saudi Arabia. I'm like, the atmosphere will just be dead. It'll be gone. And we just, all the fans just do want it in England as well. Just.
Do you think the British fans like more Fury or Joshua?
I'll be honest with this one. I think they like Tyson Fury more. It's a very close one because they're both lovely guys, aren't they? You know, they're not. No one hates them. They're two very respected characters. Obviously, Joshua's got them. AJ's got like the second most followers on Instagram for a boxer. He's immensely popular. You know, he trains hard. He's a very good national symbol, isn't he? He's built like a brick shit house, and he's a physical specimen. And I think he's just a very hard guy to beat. He's very well disciplined in the world of boxing. He's very motivated, and he loves what he does. So I just think that gives him an edge going in there. But obviously Tyson Fury, hell of a fighter, hell of a story. He's dangerous as well. We've seen it against Wilder. He's got power now, and he's the best. I don't care what people say about like what's his face, like Wilder being able to equalise. Wilder was a favourite going into their fight.
I don't think he deserved to have been a favourite going into that fight.
No, definitely not. But he's got the knockout, doesn't he? He's got the knockout always there. But like Fury's just his technical boxing just is amazing, isn't it? It's wonderful to see the way he sets up those double jabs and the double feints. He just was too much for Wilder last time. Wilder just didn't know what to do. You know, so he was in trouble from the start.
I think Fury's got the most heart out of all of the heavyweight division.
Yeah, I think Joshua can. That's the one thing he might lack a little bit of, but obviously he came back and showed it. Like, but in that fight against Andy Ruiz Jr., he just lacked a bit of heart, didn't he?
Yes, he does.
And Ruiz Jr. just completely schooled him that night. It's true. What do we think of? What does Deontay Wilder do from now then?
I think the biggest fights to make for Wilder is either Ruiz or Dillian White. Dillian White's been calling out for that fight for ages.
I don't think Dillian White's a good idea for Wilder. I believe Dillian White's the third best heavyweight boxer in that division. Dillian White is without a doubt a dangerous man for any of those. Since Dillian White lost to Joshua, I think he's been on it. It's a crazy win streak. He's won 10 fights in a row now. 10 fights consecutive.
Yeah, he's been on fire.
No, I think it's even 11. He's won 11 fights. He KO'd Derek Chisora, a guy with an iron chin. He beat Joseph Parker, a guy who'd just come off a loss to AJ, but still one of the best in the world, the former world champion. Beat Robert Helenius, who just beat the undefeated Adam Konotsky. And Dillian White, he's being treated unfairly at the moment, you know.
Dillian White has got one of the best untold stories, like background stories in the heavyweight division.
I think he had a kid at 15 or something, didn't he?
He's been like shot in the leg and stuff like that, or stabbed. I don't remember what it is.
Yeah. I think they're taking the piss, aren't they, WBC? He's been the mandatory challenger for I think it's 1,500. That's 4 years. You got to see where he's getting really frustrated from.
Yeah.
And he lost that fight to AJ when they were both, national challenging, just for the regional belts.
Yeah.
That was for the WBC International, Commonwealth and British heavyweight title. So, in that Dillian White performance, he didn't show... He was just trying to swing for Joshua, and he did catch Joshua at one point, and he did hurt Joshua. It's just Joshua's pedigree came through more that fight, but since then, Dillian White, he's got a very good jab, a monstrous left hook, the best in the division for sure. I think he possibly beats Fury and Joshua when he faces them. I don't think the bookies will put him down as a massive underdog against them. I think it'll be very close.
It'll be the third fight for Dillian White versus Joshua, won't it?
Yeah, obviously he beat the amateurs. He dropped Joshua
Amateurs,
at the amateurs as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
I just think White is the most dangerous fighter to fight in that division. That's why no one wants to fight him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a crazy division, isn't it? Obviously, who've you got behind them? You've got Chisora facing Usyk. Usyk's very big in that division, isn't he?
And has Tony Bellew been saying he wants to return?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to come back. I think he loves the sport, but his body's not going to be right for it anymore. He's getting old now, isn't he? Tony Bellew. He did do well against David Haye, and David Haye is very dangerous, but that was an old David Haye. But he's still a very dangerous fighter. I think, obviously, let me just go on to BoxRec to check the rankings. I think they've got Fury at the top, followed by Wilder. I don't get that.
Wilder's only got bums.
Now, yeah, he's got 42 wins against bombs. Yeah, so the rankings go like this. It goes Fury, Wilder, Joshua, Usyk, Povetkin. Wait, Alfie, check this out. They've got Andy Ruiz Jr., Usyk, Povetkin, all ahead of Dillian White.
That's just disrespect.
He's disrespectful to him. He's going to fight Povetkin in his next fight, isn't he? That's his next fight. But putting Andy Ruiz Jr. above them, Andy Ruiz Jr.'s got one big win in his career, and they've just bumped him up.
Yeah.
Who else have you got there coming up the division? You got Daniel Dubois, F.A. Jogba. You got Kubrat Pulev. If he beats Joshua, which could happen, he's a dangerous fighter. He's only lost one fight to Klitschko. That was a monstrous left hook that laid him out on the canvas. But yeah, it's a very dangerous division at the moment. Obviously, in the world, you've got one pound for pound king in boxing at the moment, which is Canelo Alvarez. I think Canelo has to face Golovkin one more time, because I think the two decisions against Golovkin have been controversial. If he wants to cement his legacy, obviously he's only lost to Floyd Mayweather Jr. He just went up to light heavyweight and beat the best there, Kovalev. But he was getting beat in that fight until he got the knockout. But he's a very good fighter. He's extremely hard to beat. I think that's about it for boxing at the moment. Well, saying that, Conor McGregor wants to come back, doesn't he? Against Mayweather.
He does. He wants to fight against Mayweather. Loads of people have been calling out for the fight against Mayweather.
I think he gives Mayweather a lot of a harder fight this time.
Definitely. I think Mayweather just needs to retire now and call it a day.
Yeah, he went in there that first round. He tried to knock him out. Obviously, landed that really good uppercut.
He tried to bully him.
And I watched the fight quite recently, and he won the first 4 rounds. Went in there with the confidence and the swagger. Tried to land those big shots. Mayweather wasn't landing anything early. And the size difference was massive. Obviously, Conor being Conor, he slows down. Mayweather made a miss, and that's where the kryptonite for Conor McGregor happens. He makes a miss, and then he starts getting tired. And that's where the trouble starts coming in. Then Mayweather starts to pick his shots, and he hurt McGregor. But I think in this fight, Conor will be more patient. Conor we saw against Alvarez, the one that slipped the shots, the one that hit him with those massive left straight. I'll say 7. I'm going to say 7th, actually. What's your prediction?
6th round knockout.
6th round?
Well,
Yeah, I think Mayweather's just too old as well now.
yeah, he is.
It's a stupid fight for him to take, though, isn't it?
It would be. Mayweather would be an idiot if he takes that fight.
Alright, so who are your favourite UFC fighters? And if they if they're different, obviously, and if they had a fight, who do you generally think would win? Like, based on their
Well, it
performance.
depends on the weight class, doesn't it?
True, but you know.
My favourite fighter at the moment in the UFC is Israel, the last style bender, Adesanya. I think he's got the best stand-up park honor in the UFC, and he's got an incredible takedown defense. He's beat some of the big names. He's beat Whittaker. He's the current champion. He needs to beat Paulo Costa. That's the big fight that's coming up. Obviously, Paulo Costa doing some fake sparring with Logan Paul and pretending to knock him out.
My favourite fighter at the moment is Francis Ngannou, just because I like seeing people get knocked out. It's entertaining.
Well, Ngannou's a machine, mate. What do you think about the whole John Jones versus Ngannou fiasco going on at the moment?
I don't know, because I feel like if Jones can survive the first few rounds, then it's Jones's fight to lose. But, Ngannou's got the power, the biggest equaliser in the UFC.
Yeah, but you saw what Stipe did to Ngannou.
Exactly.
Stipe completely destroyed Ngannou. Made him miss in the first round. Had to take a couple shots.
Who's your favourite fighter of all time?
Anderson Silva. Yeah. He was just, next level striking. No one could get on his level until he started to muck about. Or him, or Chael P. Sonnen.
P. Sonnen, and the P stands for excellence.
He was entertaining to watch, wasn't he?
Yep.
In the press conferences, saying he's gonna slap Anderson like he's gonna slap his wife if she doesn't make a steak medium rare, just how he likes it. It's just a really good, quality to have in the sport. He's a fun guy, and he'll get under people's skin quite easily. Did against Anderson. Anderson shoulder barged him when they did their face off, didn't they?
Yeah, he shouldered him to the face, didn't he?
Yeah, little shoulder dig to the face, but taking some hints out of Conor McGregor's book there. But yeah, obviously he got choked out in that fight against Anderson. He won all the rounds and had to get choked out in that last round. He was so close. He's another one of those fighters who never became champion. One of the great fighters. Right. If you had to choose your current pound for pound all-time top 5 in MMA, who are you choosing?
Like, we were speaking about this yesterday.
Who are we going for?
Wait, only UFC or all of MMA? Well, not all of MMA, but just
all of MMA.
Yeah.
So I think at my 5 position, I would have I'd probably have Chuck Liddell at its prime. He was just a monster who'd smash through people. He smashed Tito Ortiz, a very good champion, twice. Knocked out Kevin Randleman, a very powerful heavyweight. And he went over to Pride as well. And I think he beat Alistair Overeem at some point as well. So he's my number 5. Who's your number 5?
The 5, I'll go with Matt Hughes. He's got a pretty good record, hasn't he?
Big call. One of the best.
How did he finish off his career? 45 wins and how many losses?
It's 9. 9 losses. He lost to Koscheck, Penn, Thiago Alves, George St. Pierre.
And then my number 4 will be either Henry Cejudo or Demetrius Johnson.
My number 4, I'm going for Conor McGregor.
Well, just because of the amount of weight classes.
He's the only person in the UFC to have finishes in multiple weight classes. Obviously in featherweight, like featherweight, he finished Aldo in spectacular fashion. Did the same at lightweight against Alvarez, picked him apart, and then took out Cerrone in very quick fashion as well at welterweight. Also, he's come over adversity. He beat Nate Diaz in the rematch, obviously after losing by tap in the first one. He went over to boxing, didn't do too well over there. Saying that, if you're going up against the best fighter of all time, he did pretty well, didn't he? especially winning the earlier rounds. I think he won the first 5 rounds out here on the judges' scorecards. So that's pretty impressive. But just also the fact that he's the first ever double champ, you know, he put a light on the sport that had never been seen before for the MMA. So yeah, I'm going to go on to my number 3 now. My number 3 spot is Anderson Silva. Obviously, array of finishes in 2 divisions. He's very diverse in his striking, very exciting actually. Like finishes he produced against Vitor Belfort's the one I can remember the most frequently. He upkicked him, didn't he, to the face? No one had ever seen that before. It's like when Barboza knocked out Etim. It's just a technique no one saw before. And, you know, he really put the MMA world alight as well. And he was such a dominant champ. So I think 16 defences or something like that, which is the second most of all time, behind Demetrius Johnson. So yeah, who's your number 3?
My number 3 is John Jones.
John Jones. Oh, controversial. Why is he on number 3?
Just because I don't feel like actually that's not going to make much sense. I'll just say my number 2 now because my number 2 is Anderson Silva, and I'm not going to put him above my 1 because the amount of time they've been popped for steroids and stuff like that.
Yeah, obviously. My number 2 is GSP.
That's my number 1. So I'm guessing your number 1 is John Jones, is it?
Yeah, it is John Jones. GSP obviously being very dominant in his division. The only guys he lost to, he went and beat them. There's only one bit of controversy around him, isn't there?
Yep.
The whole Johnny Hendricks loss, which everyone thought Johnny Hendricks won. And then when Johnny Hendricks went to the rematch, GSP's like, I want to take a break from the sport. Yeah, number 1, John Jones, aside from all the PEDs and the car chase stuff, he is dominant in there every time, except for recently where he's had a couple of, controversial. I don't think it's controversial, I just think they're very close decisions. That might just be because, competition's getting better or he's getting older, but him in his prime, young Johnny Jones was, he's undefeatable, wasn't he? He had his he had to come overcome adversity in that Alexander Gustafsson fight, and in the fight against Vitor Belfort, he almost got his arm broken. He's got the heart of a lion, and I think he will go up to heavyweight, and he will beat Francis Ngannou in the way that Stipe beat him.
So going back to YouTube boxing scene, I wanted to ask this earlier, but I forgot to. Can you put your top 5 YouTube boxers?
Top 5 YouTube boxers. All right, I'll tell you my top 5 YouTube boxers. We'll start from the top there. The best YouTube boxer for me is KSI.
And okay.
KSI, then followed by Jake Paul.
Okay.
Behind Jake Paul, I've put Logan Paul.
Yep.
Then I've got I think Face Sensei is number 4, and then behind him is Gib.
Okay.
Alfie, what's yours?
Number 5, Gib. 4, Logan Paul. 3, Jake Paul. 2, KSI.
My top 5 is pretty basic. It's KSI, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, Face Sensei, and Gib.
Oh, pretty decent then. Alright then, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Thanks you for watching, guys. Tune in next week. There's going to be a podcast every week up until the end of isolation. That's going to be pretty good, and we'll see you then. Okay.